In our last episode, we dealt or talked from the topic, the beginning of sorrows, in which I expounded and brought out distinctively the signs, circumstances, and events that Messiah gave us that would be indications of the beginning of sorrows or the travailing or the birth pangs that will birth us into the great tribulation. On this particular segment, I want to deal with specifically the signs of thy coming in connection to the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah. There are signs that are distinctively and particularly connected to the events that will lead us to the actual day and hour in which the Son of Man or the Messiah Yeshua will appear or come a second time. You want to stay in tune to this teaching as we investigate the signs of thy coming. What are the signs that would indicate the specific event known as the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah? Shalom, shalom, co-Israel. My name is Pathwell Ben Yaakov. This is Israelites Relit Ministry, and we welcome you once again to another prophetic word and insight segment. And we are getting into this prophetic word and insight segment. I'm just so happy and elated to be able to come before you once again, my brothers and sisters, and share with you revelation knowledge and understanding that the Most High has given me through the duration of time that I have been walking with the Messiah or striving to live a righteous life before Yeshua the Messiah. A lot of these teachings that I am bringing on this prophetic word and insights are actual things that the Most High revealed to me when I was a young preacher, a young teacher, teaching in the assembly that I was reared up and brought forth in. But with that being said, if you are a first-time listener or a reoccurring listener, we want to invite you all to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on your post notifications so that you will be notified every time we come on YouTube or YouTube Live. Also, Facebook. We are Israelites Relit Ministry on Facebook as well. And if you would like to send me a personal friend's request, you can send me a personal friend's request to my Facebook profile, which is Pathwell Ben Yaakov. And also, we are Israelites Relit Ministry on Instagram as well. So follow us on Instagram. With that being said, I want to say Todah, or thank you all for taking time out of your time to join with us once again as we give insight to the prophecy or to the prophetic word of the Most High and relating it and making it relatable to our understanding of current events that are unfolding and things that we are seeing in our present time, all right? And in this present time, we are experiencing inflation is on the all-time high. Gas prices is on the all-time high. Simple necessities, food, things of that nature are on an all-time high. We are in a war right now, basically Russia and Ukraine. Also, there are other skirmishes and battles and wars and things of that nature that are taking place that people don't even know about. They're not even reporting this stuff on places like CNN, CBS, NBC, Fox News. They're not even reporting some of the other wars and things of that nature that are going on behind the scenes that is setting the stage for what we are seeing or what we are calling prophetically as the Great Tribulation or the Great Pearls and testings that will test every individual upon the face of the earth, whether you be righteous or whether you be a sinner. It's going to test you. It's going to try you, okay? So we have to prepare ourselves for the Great trials that are going to come, not only physically, but spiritually as well. We want to talk about in this particular teaching, we want to talk about the signs of thy coming. What are the specific signs that will indicate the actual coming of Yeshua the Messiah? Now, I want to deal with this on a surface level because we're going to be doing another teaching after this teaching, and this teaching will go into more detail on the actuality of what signs will take place as it relates to astronomical signs. And when I use the word astronomical, I'm talking about events that will be signs that will happen in the heavens, things that will go on in the outer realm, which we call the outer space, things that will throw the alignment of the cosmos or the alignment of the astronomical course and currents of the sun, moon, and stars. Is going to throw those things out of whack, or it is going to be a great disturbance in the flow or in the process of how these things operate. And we're going to see things like asteroids. We're going to see things like the sun being darkened, the moon being turned into blood. You know, there's going to be a great shaking of the heavens, not just the heaven, but the heavens. And you say, well, what are you talking about when you make a demarcation between heaven and heavens? There are three dimensions of heaven, okay? There are three dimensions of heaven. We have the first and second and third heaven. All of these things are going to be impacted as we near to the coming of Yeshua the Messiah, or the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah. There is going to be a astronomical, cataclysmic, okay, manifestations of things that we're going to see from the heavens. Not just the heaven or the sky or the blueness of the sky that we can look up and see in this realm. That is what we are calling the first heaven. But there's a second heaven. The second heaven, which I believe to be, is the outer rim or the darkness or the void that is between the first and the third heaven. Beyond the third heaven is the actuality of where the throne of Yah resides. That's what I believe, okay? So when we talk about the heavens, which is mentioned in the scripture, it doesn't say heaven. It's not talking about one heaven, but it says the heavens, which is the first and second and third heaven. Those heavens are going to be shaken as Messiah moves through the dimensions of the third, second, and the first heaven. As he enters the atmosphere of the earth, there is going to be a great shaking, and we're going to see great signs and things of that nature happen. But we're going to get into the specific of what those signs is and the prophecies of the prophets when they mention these particular signs and events and things of that nature, okay? We're going to get into that probably after this teaching here. We're going to talk about the astronomical signs that we're going to see that will lead up to the coming of Messiah. But this particular teaching, I want to just talk on a surface level. I don't want to go into the actual prophecies of the prophets that talk about these astronomical signs that will be revealed from the heaven, okay? But I want to talk on the surface level of the signs of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah and the signs and indications that Messiah gave us in relation to his second coming. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to read from the book of Tehillim, Psalms, chapter 79, verse 9. And this is something that we need to definitely understand, my brothers and sisters. We need men who have a prophetic anointing. I'm not talking about this superficial Christianity, hogwash, and buffoonery. I'm not talking about these foolish, no prophesying prophets. But we need prophets that will not only prophesy, but also be able to go in and give us insight to the prophecies that have already been written. We need that. We need prophets that understand the season and the time that we are in. We need prophets who are able to tell us how long, or the season, or the time, or the prophetic timeline in which we are in, so that we as the elect of the house of Israel may be warned, may have clarity to what is the purpose and will of the Most High, and how are we to prepare for the things that are going to come. But look at what David says in Psalms chapter 74, verse 9. He said, we see not our signs. He said, we can't even ra'ah, to see, to understand, to comprehend. Now, I'm going into this with a lot of passion and a lot of energy, because this is what I'm seeing, that we as a people don't even understand what signs we are to be looking for. That's why we got people out here declaring the bang bang or the vax to be the mark of the beast. Misappropriating. They are misappropriating. Spreading misinformation because you went to the internet and you read something that some Caucasian, some white man that don't even have the spirit of Yah done told you something, that all of a sudden you out here, because you don't have the spirit of Yah, are trying to equate a vaccination or the bang bang shot to the mark of the beast, when the man of perdition, or the son of perdition, or the anti-Messiah, or this lamb that spake of as a dragon has not even been revealed yet. But yet you already know what his mark is. When the book of Revelation chapter 13 tells us that he will cause, not the American government, not the United Nations, it says he. Who's the he he's referring to? He's talking about the beast that looked like a lamb but spake as a dragon. What does that indicate? That indicates the anti-Messiah. That's what it indicates. Paul spoke of him. The apostle Yohanan, or John, spoke of him. The son of perdition. He will come doing what? I don't want to even get into it, because that's a whole nother teacher for another time. But I'm doing these teachings. I'm making reference to certain things so it will jog your memory, that it might stir up your spirit. But we're going to get into that. I'm going to show you. But yet, this is why we have so much confusion to what the mark of the beast is. Because the Most High ain't never told you to figure out what the mark of the beast is. The beast himself, he will cause everyone, both great and small, to receive a mark. He will do it. Who's the he? This beast who will operate as the Hamashiach. But the things that he will speak will be of Hasatan. He will come after the working of Hasatan. This is the sign that we need to be looking for. Because this beast is going to reveal his mark. Why? Because the mark of the beast is a mark that is connecting and belonging to the beast himself. So in order to understand specifically and with a definitively what the mark is, the beast has to tell you what his mark is. Let me stop right there. Let me pause there. Okay, because I don't even want to go too deep into that. But we don't ra'ah. That we said, we don't ra'ah. We see not our signs. And the Most High, Yeshua, gave us specific signs. He gave us specific signs that would indicate what? The beginning of sorrows, or what we call the beginning of the great tribulation, or what we call perilous times. He has given us certain signs and circumstances and situations that would indicate that we are in the end times. The signs of the end times is not the same as the signs that refer to the coming of Yeshua the Messiah. Those signs are different. They differ. And that's what we have to understand. Just because we see pestilence, such as COVID-19, just because we see inflation in gas prices and food shortages and possibly the potential of a famine. Just because we are living in hard times, that don't mean that we're in the end. No, we are in the end times. We are in the last days that will lead to the end. But where we at now, we are in the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is not all that Yah has to offer. This is not all that prophecy has to offer. We are in the beginning of sorrow. Why? Why are we so confused as a people? Why? Because we don't ra'ah. We don't see our signs. We don't understand. And that's why we need ra'ah. We need pastors. We need shepherds that will feed us with knowledge and understanding. The gifting of a pastor or a shepherd he's just not a governor or a ruler in an assembly. A pastor is a shepherd. They ra'ah, they observe the sheep. They look for the signs of encroachment of the wolves to come in and to destroy the sheep. They are protectors of the flock. See, ra'ah's pastors, the office of a pastor, is also a prophetic office. It is a prophetic office as well. We talk about prophets. Yeah, prophets is the prophetic office. But pastors must also operate in a measure or in a level of a prophetic gift. Why? Because they have to be able to ra'ah. They have to be able to see. They are watchmen that are set over the house of Israel. A lot of times in the law and the prophets, we will see men who they refer as seers. If you look up that word seer, in many cases, sometimes, depending on the context of how that word seer is used, it would differ in the Hebrew pronunciation or the Hebrew word that is associated with that word seer. But in many cases, when you look up the word seer, it is the same word or Hebrew word as ra'ah, or shepherd or pastor. Why? Because seers are shepherds that must be able to see in the distance. They must be able to see afar off. And the only way that we can see afar off or see in the distance or be able to see beyond what the average person or the average believer sees, there must be a level of prophecy, or there must be a level of a prophetic anointing that is given to a shepherd to be able to see. Y'all, you know what? I'm dropping some nuggets on y'all right now. I'm telling you, I'm dropping some nuggets on y'all right now. I'm trying to stay the course. There's so many things Musa has put in my heart. I'm trying to stay the course of this particular topic that we want to talk about. But this particular verse has got me fired up. He said, we ra'ah, we see not our signs. There is no more any prophets. Where are the prophets of the Most High? I'm not talking about y'all going out here on street corners. That's not what I'm talking about. We need literal prophets who reveal to us the secrets and the mysteries of the prophecies that the prophets of antiquity, the ancient prophets, recorded and spoken of in this sefer, in this book. Where are the prophets? And I declare this by prophetic utterance. The Most High is ushering me into the realm of the prophetic ministry. I see that. I ran from it all my life. But now the Most High has declared unto me to declare it. No longer hide. The word of Yah is in me like fire shut up in my bones, like Jeremiah. Jeremiah said, I didn't want to speak in the name of Yah anymore. I didn't want to, but the word was in me so abundantly. The fire of the word of Yah was in me that I couldn't contain myself. I had to speak. The word was like fire shut up in my bones, and I can no longer bottle it up, my brothers and sisters. I must speak forth the oracles of Yah. I must do it in the way that the Most High is putting in me, and I must speak it the way that the Most High commanded me to speak it. It might be rude, it might be crude, it might be loud, it might be robust. But hear it. This is the problem. We got false prophets. They're not hearing from Yah. They're not telling you stuff like this, my brothers and sisters. They're running on the bandwagon of everybody else. They're going on the internet and grabbing things that these Caucasians, that these white folks are saying. And these black Israelite prophets are just rehashing them. I told y'all in one video that I turned on one brother. He had more commentary from white people off the internet, articles and things that some white men done wrote that don't have the spirit of Yah, that don't have the revelation knowledge of Yahshua the Messiah. He quoted more from that than he did the actual sure word of prophecy that is written, that is hatab. Our pathway is coming from the book. I'm going to reveal to you mysteries from the book, things that Messiah spoke, things that Messiah said. These are the actual signs. We must understand our signs. We must see our signs. If we don't see the signs of the end time, if we don't understand the signs of the coming of the Son of Man, we will be deceived. You will be led astray. You will believe that the mark is already here, and then when the real mark comes, you're going to end up taking it. Why? Because you're going to think that time of that prophecy has already been fulfilled when it hasn't been fulfilled yet. That's why we have to understand. We have to ra'ah. We have to understand and observe the times. But we need prophets to declare it unto us. Holy men. I did a teaching on the sure word of prophecy. Go back and revisit that if you haven't. Prophetic word and insight, sure word of prophecy. Kepha said that the spirit of Yah moved upon men, and they spoke as the spirit gave them utterance. These prophecies had no internet to run to. They didn't get their prophecies or their understanding from the internet. Their understanding was revealed to them by the spirit of Yah. And I'm sick of telling these false prophets declaring things out of their season because they don't understand the signs of the time themselves. And misleading, deceiving God's people. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you think about me. The vax is not the mark of the beast. It is not. And I declare that by the inspiration of the spirit of Yah. And I'm not telling you to go out here and take it. I'm telling you not to take it. But just because I'm telling you not to take it, just because I disagree with any vaccination, I don't care what it is, whether it's for measles or what it is. I don't agree with taking it. You take a holistic approach. You get on your knees and pray. And beseech the face of Yah. That's what you do. Get some righteous elders to pray over you. You eat healthy, you eat clean. Build your immune system up. That's what you do. But just because I disagree with any vaccination doesn't mean that it's the mark of the beast. Because you went and read a 100-page article that some white man done said to you, or some white man done wrote, that don't even have the spirit of Yah. They're not even keeping the commandments of Yah. No, prophecy must be revealed by the spirit. The prophets of old didn't rely on some other man's article or research. They relied upon the spirit of Yah. And that's what I'm going to rely upon. And that's what I'm going to speak to you by. Look what Dawid says. He said, there is no more any prophets, neither is there among us any that knoweth how long. How long? When shall these things be? What shall be the sign of thy coming? Yet the Messiah told us the signs that will be indications of his coming. But yet you got false prophets saying, oh, well, the coming of Messiah is near, or it's here. The end is here. The end is not here. It's the beginning of sorrows, the beginning. The end is not yet by and by. The end will be when we see the signs that will be revealed from Hashemayim, from the heavens. When those signs appear, that's how you know that the end is here. And even Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians that there's two events that have to happen before the day of Yah, or before the coming of Yahshua arrives. Two events Paul tells us. We're going to get into that later on. I'm not going to talk about that today. Psalms chapter 74, verse 9. We just read from there. We don't see our signs. Why? Because you are so caught up in the world. You're caught up in the affairs of the world. That has blinded your eyes. You can't even hear a man of Yah, such as Otpath well. You can't even understand the words that I'm saying to you because you get in your flesh. We have to understand the signs of the time, my brothers and sisters. We have to understand that. This is not the time of the revealing of the mark of the beast. Why? Because the anti-Messiah, the son of perdition, has not been revealed yet. He will be revealed in his time. There are certain things that the Most High has withholding from us, certain times and seasons of prophetic events. He didn't give us a specific on it. Why? Because he wanted us to watch for the sign. He's given us signs that will be indications of how we'll be able to identify this beast that looked like a lamb but spake as a dragon. But what we do, we skip past all those signs, we skip past all those things, and then we run to the mark of the beast. There's a lot of things that the government calls you to do. They cause you to get a social security number, don't they? You got to have that in order to function in society. You can't even get a job. You can't get no license. You can't get nothing like that unless you have a social security number. They cause you to do that. There's a lot of things that this world society calls you to do, but that don't mean it's the mark of the beast because they cause you to do it. That's foolish. We have to look for the specific signs of the beast in order to understand what the mark of the beast will be. How will this beast operate? What will he come doing? What will he come saying? But yet, all you brothers skip past all those things. And the first thing that happens that is not of the normity or that is not normal, y'all want to say that's the mother. I've been hearing it all my life. I'm sick of it. We're going to get into the teaching of the mark of the beast. I'm going to show you how you'll be able to identify the mark of the beast. I'm going to show you who's going to take the mark. You're not going to have a choice in the matter. You're not going to have a choice in the matter whether or not you're going to take the mark. It's not going to be your logical choice. Those who will not take the mark, it will be because you have been chosen not to. Because of one specific thing. Those of you who will take the mark, you're going to take the mark not because of your own free will, because you have a choice to or not to, no. You're going to take it because you're destined to take it. It is your destiny. You've been called to be a recipient of this beast system. Why? Because of one thing. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you to wait till that teaching come out. And I'll tell you exactly why. Who and who will not take the mark of the beast. It don't make no difference whether you know what the mark of the beast is. Just because you know what the mark of the beast is doesn't mean that you're not going to take it. And just because you don't know what the mark of the beast is doesn't mean that you will take it. It's much deeper than that. It's a spiritual connection. It is because of one thing. And I'm going to show that to you in the upcoming teachings. We got to understand our signs. We got to see our signs. We need prophets, not these fake-ass men. They're not holy. They're not Kodash. They're doing every type of wicked thing you can imagine. They got lust demons in them. They're more worried about polygamy than teaching the word of the Most High. Why? Because they caught up in their wicked lust. That's all. Every time you turn them on, they're talking about polygyny. But yet we're in the freaking middle of an inflation. We're in the middle of a food shortage. And the only thing that y'all could talk about is how many wives you want. You're wicked. Your heart is evil. You have a lust dog demon in you. You're a dog of a man. That's what you are. You're a male prostitute. You're a dog. If that's all that you're concerned about, is how many wives you can have. That's so immature. It's spiritually immature. You need to prepare yourself for the coming of Yeshua the Messiah. This whole world's going to be burnt up. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's what Apostle Kepha said. But yet y'all worried about how many freaking wives you can have. So you can be a pimp. So you can be a whoremonger and a fornicator and an adulterous person. You're not going to enter into the kingdom of Yah. You need to get your priorities straight. We are on the verge of the sky literally falling. But yet you're worrying about your lust. Y'all better get y'all act together, my brothers and sisters. I say that by prophetic utterance. Let's define the word signs in the Hebrew. The word signs in the Hebrew is oath. It is an oath in the Hebrew. That's what the pronunciation of the word is. It says a signal, literally or figuratively, a flag, beacon, monument, omen, evidence, mark, miracle, insignia, or token. So a sign is the sense of something appearing. It is the sense of something appearing. It is evident, or it makes the circumstance evident. It's the sense of a beacon or a signal. It signifies or it signals something. So when you see a sign, it's a sense of something that appears to give you evidence or to make something evident, or a flag. You ever heard of people say, oh, that's a red flag? It's just like a traffic light. When that light turns red, that's a signal for you to stop. When that light turns green, that's a signal for you to go. When the light turns yellow, that means that you proceed with caution. Signals. That's what a sign is. In the Hebrew, an oath. It is to make something evident. And this is why we need to understand and be able to distinguish the signs of the end times from the signs of the coming of the Son of Man, of the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah, or the signs of thy coming. Distinctively. It must be distinct. All right? Now, with that being said, let's continue on. Let's go on. We're going to be reading from Matthew chapter 24. I want to begin at verse 1. We're going to read a couple of verses in this chapter, and then we're going to skip down to the latter parts of Matthew chapter 24. So we're not going to read the whole chapter. We're going to read a verse here, then we're going to skip some other verses and go to the main verse that I want to expound upon. Okay? And then from there, we're going to move to Mark, and then from Mark, we're going to move to Luke. Okay? But Matthew chapter 24, verse 1, and it reads, and Yeshua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. Verse 2, and Yeshua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. In verse 2, he is specifically referring to 70 AD, the destruction of the temple. Matthew chapter 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, look at this. The disciples came to him privately. They said, tell us, when shall these things be? Did we not read in Psalms chapter 70, what was it, 79? Let me go back there right quick. Psalms chapter 74, verse 9. We see not our signs. There is no more any prophets. Neither is there any among us that knoweth how long. So the disciples came to him after him saying that the temple was going to be destroyed. They came to him privately saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming? What is the sign of thy coming? How long will these things be? How long? What are the prophets that's going to tell us how long? What are the prophets going to tell us the signs of the coming and the signs of the end times? He said, what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? What are the signs of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah? Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, verse 29. Now, between Matthew's chapter 24, verse 1, between verse 1 to verse 29, Messiah is giving us the things that's going to happen to the apostles. He's telling us the things that's going to happen in the end times or in the latter days or the beginning of sorrows. He gives us all the signs and indications. I did a teaching on that. The beginning of sorrows. Go back and look for it. Go back and look for it on our YouTube page, Israelites Relit. That particular message is entitled, The Beginning of Sorrows. I show you what Messiah gave us, the signs and indications, circumstances, and events that will indicate that we are in the beginning of sorrows. He tells us specifically what are going to be the signs of his coming. Messiah prophesies. He tells us exactly what are the signs, the indications, the events, the circumstances that will show us or indicate to us or make it evident that his coming is near. He said immediately after the tribulation of those days. So after the tribulation, this is a time period. Messiah is telling us of a events or a time period that will happen after the tribulation of those days. Look what he says. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. The stars, they shall fall. From where? Heaven. And the power of the heavens shall be shaken. He said that the stars will fall from heaven. That's one realm of heaven. But look what he goes on further to say. And the powers, the authority, the course, the very structural design that God designed the heavens to form, or the format of the heavens, the power of the heavens, 1, 2, 3, shall be shaken. These are the signs of his coming. He said that the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. When you look up the word shaken, it means to waver. That is to aggravate or to agitate, to topple, destroy, to be disturbed, to incite, to move or to shake or to stir. So the powers of the heavens are going to be stirred. They're going to be agitated. The course of the sun, moon, and stars, the outer realm, which we call outer space, shall be shaken. They shall topple. And what type of effect you think that's going to have upon the earth? We're going to get into that. I'm going to do a teaching about the astronomical events of the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah. I'm going to talk about that in the upcoming teaching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Israelites Relit. Get connected to this ministry. There's a lot of things that Most High is going to reveal by revelation knowledge, by the Ruach of Yah, by the Spirit of the Most High. He says that the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Look what he goes on to say. Verse 30 of Matthew chapter 24. And then, look at what Yeshua says. He said, after you see the astronomical signs of the heavens, after you see certain events happen that's going to affect the cosmos, that will affect the firmament of the first heaven, or the firmament of the earth, the outer rim, or what we call outer space, in the third heaven. When those powers are shaken, immediately after the tribulation of those days, or after the sorrows of the birth pains, or the tribulation, he says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, with great esteem, with great power. He's not coming as a baby laying in a manger. He's coming in great power and authority as King of kings and ruler of all rulers. In the vision I saw the esteem and the glory and the splendor of the coming of Yeshua. As he came to the third, the second, and into the atmosphere of the first heaven, into the realm of earth, the sky opened up. And when you look up into the sky, you can see all the way to the rim, to the third heaven. That's what I saw. As the sky opened up, every man's going to see him coming in the sky. And as the sky rolls back as a scroll when it is rolled together, you're going to be able to see all the way to the very rim of the third heaven as he comes through the sky. He's going to open up the whole expanse. And as the coming of Yeshua draweth near, as he comes through the portals of the third, second, and into the atmosphere of the first heaven, in which is the earthly sky that we see right now, that we can look up and see, as he comes through there, because of the wrath and the impact and the power and the majesty and the glory that he shall come in, the disturbance of the heavens. The power of the heavens are going to be shaken, and that's why we're going to see the sun being darkened. That's why we're going to see the moon is not going to give us light. It's going to be turned into blood. That's why we're going to see the astronomical asteroids and meteorites begin to fall out of the sky, the stars falling and hitting the earth. There shall be great devastation and wrath upon the earth. There shall be great burning brimstone. The scripture tells us of brimstone falling out of the sky. What do you think that is? Those are meteorites and asteroids coming through the atmosphere of the earth. And as the speed, the velocity of the rocks fall, they begin to catch on fire. Almost similar to the bursting forth of a volcano, as the rocks are so hot as it protrudes from the core of the earth. It creates this lava. And the rocks are literally on fire. That's what's going to be falling out of the sky. That's why Peter said that the firmament shall melt with fervent heat. Why is the elements going to melt with fervent heat? In the vision that y'all showed me, because of the splendor and the impact of the wrath and indignation that the Messiah is coming with. It's going to impact the very cosmos. It's going to impact the very course of the heavens. This is real. I'm not coming before you with some fairy tale. I got to tell it. I can't hold it back no longer. Warn you of the impending destruction that's coming. Prepare ye the way of Yah. Make your crooked path straight before him. Because he's coming in great power and great esteem. I can't even describe the power and the esteem that he's coming in. There's no description. There's no language upon the face of the earth. There's no tongue that's humanly possible that a man can speak that can describe the very coming of Yahshua the Messiah. You won't know it until you see it. It's not like anything that's ever been experienced upon the face of the earth. He shall come in great power and great esteem, great glory. Hallelujah. We're talking about the signs of the coming of the Son of Man. Verse 31 of Matthew chapter 24. And he shall send his Melachim, his angels, with a great sound of the trumpet. And they shall gather together who? His elect from the four winds of the earth, from one end of heaven to the other. He's going to gather the scattered remnant of the tribe of Israel, those who are called to be inheritors of the kingdom, those who did not and will not bow or worship the beast, worship the anti-Messiah, worship the son of perdition. He's going to gather the remnant, a remnant from the 12 tribes of Israel that have been scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. He's going to gather the elect, the true elect. Israel is Yah's elect. We are the Bakir, the elect, the chosen of Yah. Those who keep the laws and commandments of Yah and have the testimony of Yahshua the Messiah. Let's go to Mark chapter 13, verse 1. I want you to see what Mark said. Mark prophesies, or the recording of Mark is in line with the recording of Matthew's. Let's go to Mark chapter 13. What shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of this world? We're dealing with the signs of the coming of Yahshua the Messiah. He tells us after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall withdraw its shining, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. We're going to get more in depth, in detail, according to the prophecies of the Nabi, the prophets, what they have already prophesied. The prophecy has already been written. This is the sure word of prophecy. We're going to get into that. I'm going to show you exactly what those signs will look like and what those signs are in modern terminology. Okay? We're going to get into that in another teaching. But for now, we're dealing with the signs of thy coming, the signs of the second coming of the Messiah. Mark chapter 13, verse 1. And as he went out from the temple, one of his disciples saith unto him, see what manner of stones and what buildings they are here? Mark chapter 13, verse 2. And Yahshua answered and said unto him, seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Once again, prophesying the destruction of Jerusalem 70 AD and the scattering of the tribe of Yehuda into all nations along with our brethren, the other 10 tribes. Mark chapter 13, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, Matthew said the same thing, over against the temple, Peter, James, and John, and Andrew asked him privately, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? Let's go to Mark chapter 13, verse 24. Let's skip down to verse 24 of Mark chapter 13. Messiah says this, but in those days, after the tribulation, did not Matthew say the same thing? After the tribulation of those days, Mark says the same thing. Mark chapter 13, verse 24. Yahshua says in the recording of Mark, in the book of Mark, the epistle of Mark, but in those days, after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, verse 25 of Mark chapter 13, and the stars of heaven shall fall. He said that the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. He said the power of the heaven shall be shaken. Matthew chapter 24 says the same thing. And once again, in the upcoming teaching, we're going to deal with the actuality of what those things will look like according to prophecy. And we're going to translate that from the prophecy until modern terminology. And I'm going to show you exactly what signs to look for that would be sure indications of the coming of Yahshua the Messiah. I want to state this before I go any further. We will not know the day or the hour. We're not going to know whether he's going to come 2 or 3 o'clock. We're not going to know whether he's going to come March the 13th or whatever year it may be. We don't know. But one thing that we will know is when we see these specific signs, we will know, okay, the Messiah could come at any time at this point, because now we see the sun darken. After the tribulation of the day, the sun's going to be darkened. The moon shall withdraw its shining. The stars shall fall from heaven. When we see the stars falling, asteroids, meteorites falling to the earth, then, okay, Messiah's coming any day now. Oh, let's wait with anticipation. He's coming. Oh, man, y'all see that asteroid that fell in such and such a place? You see these big old asteroids that's falling? Man, look, the sun is not shining. The sun is darkened. No, the moon ain't shining tonight. Oh, man, the sign of the Son of Man, he's coming any day now. We waiting for the day and the hour. That's how the elect is going to be. That's how those who are the true elect of the 12 tribes of Israel, that's how they're going to be. We're going to be waiting for these signs. Y'all going to remember these videos that Pathwell has put out by the inspiration of the Spirit of Yah, and you're going to be able to tell when the coming of Yahshua is. You're going to be able to tell that we're in the beginning of sorrows, the Great Tribulation. You're going to be able to tell when the Great Tribulation is over with. Why? Because the Most High has already given us the signs, the indication. He's given us the Hebrew word oath. Okay? Look what he goes on to say. Let's look at this. Mark chapter 13, verse 26. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great gadol, great power, and great esteem. After the tribulation of those days, sun shall be darkened, the moon shall withdraw its shining, the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens are going to be shaken. When we see these signs, these are indications that the coming of Messiah can happen at any time. When we see these specific signs. Mark chapter 13, verse 27. And then shall he send his Melachim, shall gather together his elect from the four winds of the earth, from the uttermost parts of the earth to the uttermost parts of heaven. You see that? So these are the signs that are specifically and distinctively indications that the coming of Messiah can happen any time, any hour, any day. Why? Because we don't know that day or the hour, but we know the signs. And we'll be able to say, okay, we are at the end. We are literally at the end. This is the end. Why? Because we see in these particular signs that are occurring that Messiah prophesied that would happen right before his coming. All right, let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 5. I want to read this in a haste, okay? This is self-explanatory, okay? We're dealing with the signs of the Son of Man. We just read those signs, what those signs are. Look what he says. And as some spake of the temple, how it was adorned with goodly stones and gifts, he said, who's the he? Yahshua said unto his disciples, as for these things which ye behold, the day shall come, in which there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Prophesying the destruction of Jerusalem 70 A.D. Luke chapter 21, verse 7, look what he says. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall be? Okay? Look what he says. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. Let's skip down to Luke chapter 21, verse 25. These are the specific signs that will happen right before the coming of Yahshua the Messiah. We read the account of Matthew's. We read the account of Mark. Now we read the account of Luke, which is the same prophecy. Okay, same prophecy. Prophesied in Matthew chapter 24, Mark chapter 13. Okay? Let's skip down to Luke chapter 21, verse 25. Messiah says, and there shall be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, And upon the earth, the stress of nations with perplexities, and the sea and the waves roaring. Messiah said that there will be signs in the heaven, sun, moon, and stars. And upon the earth, there will be great distress and perplexity. No, you don't have a visual idea of how that looks like. It's unlike anything that you could ever imagine. Even in my dream, the distress, the perplexity upon the faces that I saw in the vision that God gave me of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah. I can't even explain the terror, the fearfulness. It's going to be a fearful sight unto those who are not of the elect of God, unto those who have not been called to be inheritors of the kingdom of Yah, those who have not repented of their sins and followed after Yeshua the Messiah. Those who do not obey the message of Yeshua the Messiah. And those who do not know Yah, they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be perplexed. That's why Yeshua said, don't be afraid when you see these things. Do not be afraid, elect of Yah. For these things must come to pass. We're going to lift up our heads and lift up our eyes unto the hills from which cometh our help. Our help's coming from Yah. Why? Because our confidence is in Yah. We can have confidence at his appearing. But at this time there will be distress and perplexity of nations. The sea and the waves will be roaring. We're going to get more in depth into that as well in the upcoming teachings. Look what he says. Luke chapter 21, verse 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear. Men are going to have heart attacks just based off of the fear, the anxiety, the perplexity of mind, the perplexity of spirit, that these great signs from the heaven, these astronomical asteroids and stars falling out the sky and powers of the heavens being shaken, they're going to be so fearful that they're going to literally have heart attacks. Their hearts are going to fail them. Their minds are going to fail them. The very functioning of their mental state, they're going to go mad and insane and crazy off of the fear. And looking after those things which are coming on the earth. He says, for this. He said, for this. This is going to happen. This is why they're going to be perplexed. This is why they're going to lose their mental state. That's why they're going to be having heart attacks. It's based off of fear. Why? For the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. The very authority and power that Yah has established when he created the heavens and the earth. He set the sun, moon, and stars in their orbit, in their course. He said the powers of the heavens are going to be shaken. When you shake something, you shake it, it rears back and forth. It staggers, it wavers. It's unstable. There's going to be an instability in the powers of the heavens. I don't think y'all are comprehending what our Pastor Well is speaking, what our Pastor Well is prophetically teaching you right now. When you see that, those events happen. That's how you know that Yeshua's coming is here. That's how you know the end is here. That's how you know. Not when you see gas prices going high. Not when you see pestilence and vaccinations and mandates and things of that nature. No. Those things are indications of the beginning of sorrows, of the great tribulation. Those signs indicate that we are entering into the birth pains of the great tribulation. These signs I'm reading to you are distinct signs that indicate that Messiah coming is right at the door. I mean, like right there. When you see these signs, then you're going to know that any day, any hour, any second, any minute, Messiah could come through the corridor of the sky because of these signs. He said that the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then, he said when you see that, and then, he said when you see the powers of the heavens being shaken, the moon, the sun being dark, and the moon not giving its light, distress and perplexity upon the face of the earth. Men's hearts failing to fulfill. When you see these signs, he says in verse 27 of Luke chapter 21, and then shall they see. And then shall they see. Then will they literally see. They will observe with their eyes. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and great esteem, great glory, or great splendor. He said, when you see those things, that's how you know. Then they shall see. After the tribulation of those days, after the great tribulation, sun shall be darkened, the moon shall not give its light, stars shall fall from heaven. There shall be perplexity and distress upon nations. Men's hearts failing to fulfill. For the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. That's what it says. That's what the prophecy said. That's what Yahshua prophesied. And then shall they see the coming of the Son of Man coming in the clouds with great power and great splendor. See, we got to ra'ah. We have to see our signs. We have to have men that are prophets, that are nabis, that are seers, to be able to see, to peer into the distance, and to prophesy these things, to be able to dig into the in-depths of the prophetic or the sure word of prophecy, and to reveal it to us in layman terms, so that our minds might be able to have a glimpse of comprehension to what things we shall see and experience as we approach the coming of Yahshua the Messiah. That's what we got to have. Can't be having no fake jack legs Israelites. There's no example of righteousness in their life. Like I said, they're full of lust. They rather smoke weed. They rather get drunk. See, people don't want to invite a man like me to their events to teach and preach. They don't want to hear this sound doctrine, brothers and sisters. See, this is not popular among the nation of Israel. It's unpopular. Why? Because it's the truth. They're not going to invite someone like Pathwell out to their events to preach and to prophesy and to speak the oracles of these things that the nation of Israel need to hear and need to understand. They want mores. They want teachers. They don't want men to lift up their voices like a shofar and declare the wickedness and the depravity of the nation of Israel. I'm not worried about the world. I'm not worried about the world, what the world doing. I'm not here to reprove or to rebuke the world. I'm here to reprove and to rebuke and to correct the house of Israel. That's what I'm here for. I'm speaking to you, Israelites. Israelites relit. The relighting of the menorah of Yah among the nation of Israel, the 7 Ruachim, the 7 spirits of Yah. I'm speaking to you, house of Jacob. I'm speaking to you, house of Israel. I'm not concerned about what the world doing. Those who are outside of the body of Yahshua HaMashiach, I'm speaking to the body. These are the things to look for. These are the signs and indications that we should be anticipating. Look what he says. He says, and when these things begin to come to pass, he said, then look up. Look up. You know, there was a movie on Netflix called Don't Look Up. If y'all hadn't seen that, y'all need to go and look at that. They was telling people not to look up because there was some big asteroid falling out of the sky. Y'all, see, even sometimes y'all use the wicked to even express to you what things are going to transpire at the coming of Yahshua the Messiah. When the scripture says that the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, that's what it's talking about. When it says stars falling out of heaven, it's talking about asteroids falling out of the sky. That's what it's talking about. If y'all hadn't seen that movie called Don't Look Up on Netflix, you need to look at that. Because that's how people are going to be. That's what these prophets are telling you. Oh, don't look up. Don't look up. Continue to look down. Be concerned what's going on in this earth realm. Don't look up at the sky. No, you need to look up. Pastor Wells is telling the house of Israel to look up. Look at the signs of the heavens. Look for these indications in the stars and in the heavens and things of that nature. Why? Because these are going to be the things that's going to show us that Yeshua's coming is at any time. When you see that, that's how you know. You can say, oh, Yeshua coming any day now. Oh, man, come on. I'm ready. I'm ready, y'all. But now these signs that we're seeing is the signs of the beginning of the great tribulation. I declare that unto you prophetically. That's what we're seeing, my brothers and sisters. And when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them, like travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. They're telling you, oh, peace and safety. Oh, everything's going to be all right. Oh, the economy is going through, it's going to rebound. The economy may very well rebound. But if it do, you better wait. You better open up your eyes because there's another great disaster that's going to occur. Why? Because when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction is going to come. Okay? He says in verse 28, and when you shall see these things begin to come to pass, then look up, lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. Your redemption is close. Very close. Okay? Now, let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. There's something that I want to reveal unto you. We're talking about the signs of the heaven. We're talking about the signs of the coming of the Son of Man. Why is it so important for us to understand? Why is it that the signs of the heavens is a distinct indication of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah, of his second coming? Why? Because his first coming, there was signs or a sign from heaven that indicated that Messiah, that Yeshua was born in the city or in the town of Bethlehem of Judea, as it was prophesied in the book of Isaiah. His first coming, the Messiah will be born in the city of David. And the wise men from the east, they knew that. Why? Because they saw the star. They saw the sign in the heaven. If a sign in the heaven indicated the first coming of Yeshua the Messiah, or the birth of Yeshua Messiah as the Lamb coming into this world to save Israel and mankind from their sin, why not the second coming of Yeshua not be in like manner? The scripture tells us, and this is a whole nother teaching. I'm giving y'all tidbits of teachings that I'm going to be doing. The scripture says that the heavens declare the splendor and the power of Yah. So if Dawid said that the heavens declare the splendor and the power of Yah, that's why we need to be looking up. Why? Because when you see these things happen in the heavens, that's how you know that the second coming of Yeshua is near and that our redemption draws near. When you see the signs in the heaven, why? Because the heavens declare the power of Yah. The heavens declare his handiwork. The heavens declare the power of Yah for a reason. Come on, Israel. Look what he says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. We're talking about signs, particularly the signs of thy coming, or the signs of the coming of the second coming of Yeshua, the Messiah. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens, or in the heaven, to divide the day from the night, and let them be for what? Signs. Let them be for signs. The Hebrew word here for sign is oath. Again, in the sense of something appearing, a signal, literally or figuratively, as a flag, beacon, monument, omen, evidence, mark, miracle, insignificant, token. He says, so let the firmaments in the heaven, sun, moon, and stars, let it divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days. Let it depict the Chadush or the Kadesh, the months. Let it predict the cycles of the day, 12-hour, 24-hour periods. Okay? Let it be for seasons to determine the feast days in their seasons, whether it be spring, summer, winter. But these signs have a prophetic end time connection as well. The signs of the heavens. The powers of the heavens shall be shaken. The moon shall not give their light. And when you see these signs occur, then shall they see the sign of the coming of the Son of Man, coming in power and great extent. These signs will occur before the actual coming of Yeshua the Messiah happen. This is how we know that his coming is near. Why? Because Yah set the firmaments in the heavens. He set the sun, moon, and stars to be for what? Signs. Not only signs of days, of years, and months, and the seasons in a natural sense, but also to indicate certain signs of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah, of the first coming of Yeshua the Messiah, born through the womb of Miriam, the virgin. She was a virgin. His birth didn't come by the will of man, but there was a star to indicate the first arrival of Yeshua the Messiah into the earth as the Son of Man, as the Son of David, as the Son of Yah, as the Messiah, Hamashiach. And the heavens would declare his second coming as well too, just in a more devastating and cataclysmic way. So Yah set the firmaments in the heaven to be for signs, seasons, and for days, okay? Let's continue on. Let's move in a haste. I know that this video is somewhat lengthy, but those of you who have got to this point now, I told you for enduring and listening, because it's very vital to hear and to understand, okay? Now, I want to just read briefly the account of the first coming of Yeshua the Messiah as he was born into the earth realm through the womb of Miriam. As I stated, she was a virgin. I do believe in the virgin birth. I do not believe that Joseph was his actual or earthly father. His father is Yahweh. Okay? His father is Yah. All right? Now look what he says in Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. He said, "Now when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born king of Yehuda, or the Yadim, or Israelites? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him." So these wise men of the east, they saw an indication of a phenomenon in the sky or in the heavens that indicated that the Messiah was born in Bethlehem of Judea, which was prophesied by Isaiah the prophet. Look what he goes on to say. He said, when Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Messiah should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet. Verse 6 of Matthew chapter 2. And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Yehuda, art not the least among the princes of Yehuda. For out of thee shall come a governor that will rule my people Israel. Matthew chapter 2, verse 7. Then Herod, when he had privately called the wise men to inquire of them diligently what time the star appeared. See, Herod wanted to know what time the sign, the signal, or the star appeared in the heaven. Verse 8, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. So the phenomenon of the star appeared, the sign, the signal appeared in the heaven, and it led them right back to where the young child, Yeshua the Messiah, was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Miriam, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And they had opened their treasures, their presents unto him, gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So there was a phenomenon, a sign, which wise men that were in the east was able to see the sign of the star, indication that the Messiah had been born in Bethlehem of Judea, prophesied by the prophet Isaiah. And these wise men of the east were able to connect that sign back to the prophecy that Isaiah prophesied that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem of Judea. They came to Jerusalem to search and to find the child that they might worship him. Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, we read that the firmaments of the heaven, sun, moon, and stars are for signs, for time, and for season, and for days. It is for a sign. So if the heavens declared the first entrance of the Messiah into the earth realm in human form, birthed through the virgin or Miriam, which was a virgin, then the heavens would declare the second coming of Yeshua the Messiah. When you see those signs appear in the heaven, then you can look up and know that your redemption draws nigh, because those signs are the indications of the coming of Yeshua the Messiah. I pray that this teaching was a great inspiration to your heart. Once again, my name is Pathwell Ben Yaakov. This is Israelites Relit Ministry. You are viewing and listening to our prophetic word and insight segment, airing every Tuesday. As long as the Most High give me strength and the ability to be able to come and bring you a prophetic teaching, a prophetic word, I will do that every Tuesday at this particular time, okay? With that being said, I want to encourage all of you, if you're a first-time listener or a reoccurring listener, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Israelites Relit. Turn on your post notifications as well. Also, we are Israelites Relit on Facebook. We have a public Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page, like it, follow it. If you want to send me a personal friend's request as well, you can send me a friend's request at Pathwell Ben Yaakov on Facebook. We are also Israelites Relit Ministry on Instagram as well. Follow us on Instagram. If you're in the St. Louis area and you're looking for teachings like this and you want to fellowship with me in person or me via the internet, live stream, things of that nature as well, reach out to me at Pathwell. If you're in the St. Louis area and you're looking for fellowship or you want like to fellowship with us, reach me at my email address, which is relit.mo@gmail.com. relit.mo@gmail.com. Email me and let us know that you want to fellowship or join us in fellowship, and we will let you know the place where we will be gathering or fellowshipping, the day, or whether or not we will be meeting online, because we meet in person and we meet online as well. With that being said, I want to say Shalom, Ko Israel. Continue to pray for me as I pray for you, House of Israel. Let's pray for one another. Let's uplift one another. And I know that this video was long and lengthy, but I had to say what I had to say. The Spirit was giving me the utterance and the urging me to bring forth this message to you. I pray that it bless your ruach, okay? With that being said, shalom, co-Israel. May Yah cause his face to shine upon you and give you shalom. Shalom, co-Israel.